What if freedom wasn't something you had to chase, but simply something you stopped resisting? Is it really the world outside that traps us? Or is it the silent agreements we've made inside? The beliefs, the rules, the voices we accepted without question? In this video, we explore the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a timeless guide to inner freedom rooted in ancient Toltec wisdom. Teachings from a lineage of Mexican spiritual knowledge, passed down to help us break limiting beliefs and return to our true nature. Simple truths that challenge the way we think, speak, and live, not just as ideas, but as a daily practice of clarity, compassion, and calm. These 4 principles might sound simple, but if practiced fully, they have the power to undo years of inner noise, self-sabotage, and suffering. Let's walk through each agreement with examples, insights, and ways to bring them into everyday life. We grow up learning how to speak, but rarely how to listen to our own words. What we say becomes the air we live in. The words we use, about ourselves, about others, about life, shape what we see and what we expect. But how often do we pause to ask, are my words healing or hurting? Am I creating clarity or confusion? Am I building myself up or slowly wearing myself down? The first agreement, be impeccable with your word. Before we speak, we're already shaping meaning, and most of the time, we're not even aware of it. We use words to label, judge, explain, defend, or hurt. But what if our words were not just tools, but seeds? Seeds that grow into how we see ourselves, how we treat others, and how we shape reality. Every sentence is a choice, creation or destruction. It's not just about telling the truth to others. It's about the deeper relationship you have with the words you choose, especially the words you use with yourself. Words are magical tools. They can create dreams or destroy everything around you. Words plant seeds in the mind. Positive words grow beauty. Negative words grow fear and doubt. When you gossip, criticize, or speak with anger, you are misusing the magic of your word. When you uplift, encourage, and speak with clarity, you create freedom. Think about a time when someone told you something beautiful. You're really talented. You have a kind heart. That one sentence could stay with you for years. Now think of a time someone said something cruel. You're worthless. You'll never succeed. Those words, too, can echo in your mind long after they were spoken. The most dangerous voice is the one inside your head. Maybe it doesn't scream, but quietly says things like, I'm not enough, I always mess things up, or I'll never be as good as them. These thoughts may seem harmless, but every time you speak to yourself like this, you're using your word against yourself. You're casting a quiet spell. Being impeccable with your word means speaking with integrity, saying only what you mean, avoiding using words to harm yourself or others, and using your words to share love and truth. Catch yourself today. Notice the small moments. When you feel frustrated, how do you speak to yourself? When you talk about others, are your words building or tearing down? When you make promises, are you being sincere? Being impeccable with your word is not about perfection. It's about awareness. And every word you choose becomes either a step toward freedom or a step deeper into suffering. Remember, every word you speak plants a seed, in yourself or in others. And the first person you must speak to with love is yourself. Want to explore this agreement in real life? Try this for one day. Don't just avoid negative words. Choose one phrase that uplifts and repeat it. Say it out loud. Write it down. Whisper it when no one's watching. Because practicing powerful language begins with small, conscious repetition. Let's shift the lens now. How often do we take things personally without realizing it? Sometimes it takes just one look, one word, one message left unread. And suddenly we feel small, unwanted, or exposed. But here's a quiet truth. Most people aren't thinking about us as much as we think. They're caught in their own fears, stories, and stress. What if we stopped assuming it's about us and started wondering what they might be carrying? The second agreement, don't take anything personally. So much of our suffering comes not from what happens, but from what we make it mean. A silence, a glance, a sentence. Suddenly, we feel rejected, blamed, invisible. But what if the things people say and do aren't really about us? What if they're just playing out their own movie, and we're not the main character? This agreement can transform your relationships, your peace of mind, and your energy. What others say or do is a reflection of their world, not yours. But most of us take things personally. A glance, a tone, a comment. And suddenly, we feel hurt, judged, or rejected. When you take things personally, you become prey to other people's poison. Their opinion becomes your truth. Imagine you walk into a room and someone frowns at you. Your mind immediately races. Did I offend them? Did I do something wrong? But their frown might have nothing to do with you. Maybe they're worried. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they just have a headache. By not taking it personally, you free yourself from carrying their emotions on your shoulders. When someone criticizes you, it's usually not about you. It's about their fears, their insecurities, their expectations. You can listen, you can learn if something resonates, but you don't have to absorb it. Next time you feel triggered by someone's words, pause and ask, what else could this mean? Maybe it has nothing to do with you at all. Maybe it's just their dream colliding with yours, and you can walk away still at peace. Remember, what others say about you is a reflection of their story, not your worth. Protect your peace by choosing not to take ownership of their emotions. Here's something to try. The next time someone reacts in a way that stings, pause before responding. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Most of the time, it's not. You don't have to take it in. You can simply notice it and let it pass by like weather. If you want to soften this agreement into your daily life, try this. Choose one moment today when you feel dismissed or misunderstood. Pause and silently say, "Don't know their whole story." It's a simple phrase, but it creates space. Space between their world and yours. That space is where peace begins. Another quiet habit we don't question enough. The stories we invent, the blanks we fill in, the conclusions we jump to. We all do it. We read between the lines, we fill in the blanks. We decide what someone meant before they've even finished speaking. It's fast, it's automatic, and sometimes it's completely wrong. But it feels safer to assume than to ask. Because asking takes courage. It requires us to say, "I don't know yet." And in a world obsessed with certainty, that's a radical act. The third agreement, don't make assumptions. We often say, "I know how this will go." But do we? Assumptions give us a sense of control, but at the cost of connection. They build invisible walls. And most of the time, we don't even know we've put them up. Clarity takes courage, but misunderstanding, that takes nothing at all. Our minds are storytelling machines. We fill in the blanks, imagine intentions, build entire scenarios, often without facts. Assumptions are shortcuts to misunderstanding. Instead of assuming, practice asking questions. Communicate clearly. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary. When you ask instead of assume, you stay connected to reality, not fantasy. Imagine you text a friend and they don't reply for hours. Your mind might jump to conclusions. They're ignoring me. They must be angry. They don't care. But maybe they're just busy. Maybe they didn't see your message. Maybe they're overwhelmed. One unspoken assumption can spiral into resentment, hurt, or unnecessary conflict. By choosing to ask, "Hey, I noticed you didn't respond. Is everything okay?" You keep the bridge open instead of burning it down. Every assumption we make is a small betrayal of trust, both in ourselves and in others. Practice staying curious instead of certain. Choose clarity over assumptions. Choose questions over conclusions. Remember, assumptions close doors. Curiosity opens them. Clarity is kindness, both to yourself and to others. Another small practice, if you're willing. Choose one conversation today and ask one more question than you normally would. Don't fill in the blanks. Let the other person speak their truth instead of your story about them. It's amazing what opens up when we let reality speak for itself. And if assumptions are your default mode, you're not alone. It's a survival strategy. But connection asks for something gentler. Next time you're about to finish someone's sentence in your head, stop, breathe, and ask instead. Let them reveal their story before you write it for them. And finally, one that holds them all together. The kind of effort that asks not for perfection, but for presence. Some days you shine, other days you're just holding it together, but both versions of you deserve kindness. We're so used to measuring ourselves in output and outcomes. But what if the real measure was presence? Not how much you did, but how honestly you showed up. The fourth agreement, always do your best. There's a quiet pressure in our world. Always perform, always prove, always produce. But what if your worth wasn't tied to your output? What if doing your best didn't mean doing the most, but showing up with what you have today? This agreement invites us to let go of the pressure and trust our presence. It ties all the others together and adds a deep layer of compassion, because doing your best doesn't mean being perfect. And it doesn't mean pushing yourself to exhaustion. It simply means showing up fully with what you have right now. Your best will change from moment to moment. When you're healthy and rested, your best will look vibrant and energetic. When you're sick or tired, your best might be slower, quieter, but still just as worthy. When you do your best, you avoid regret. You avoid guilt. You avoid punishing yourself for things you couldn't control. Imagine a day when you're struggling with sadness. Doing your best might simply mean getting up, drinking water, and moving your body. On another day, doing your best might mean writing that book, launching that project, having that hard conversation. The key is this: your best is enough, always. There's a quiet freedom in this agreement. It allows you to live with self-respect, no matter the outcome. No more self-judgment, no more self-rejection, only honest, compassionate effort. Remember, your best changes with your circumstances, and that's okay. Consistency in effort matters more than consistency in results. Here's something simple to carry with you. Your best is not a fixed standard. It lives in the present moment. So instead of asking, "Did I do enough?" try asking, "Was I with myself while doing it?" Sometimes your presence is the best thing you can offer. And to close this day with self-compassion, try this gentle challenge. At the end of today, ask yourself, without judgment, did I meet this day with what I had to give? If the answer is yes, no matter how small it seems, then that was your best, and that's enough. These 4 agreements are not rigid rules to live by. They are invitations to return to yourself. To peel off the layers of fear, expectations, and conditioning. To step into the kind of freedom that doesn't depend on the outside world, but flows from within. So remember, be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Drop your favorite agreement in the comments and commit to trying them out in real life. Smart lessons from great books for great minds. If you enjoyed this bite, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep feeding your brain, one book at a time, right here on Brain Book Bites. Thanks for watching.